Hello everyone, it's Mary Jane, Wolf Girl Stamps. I'm working on the June Stamp of the Month card set. This set goes to all my customers who purchase $50 or more in the month of June. And this kit will come with enough materials to make 2 of each card that I'm showing you here. Even if you're not getting any stamp of the month or you just want to watch for techniques, I hope you enjoy. This first layout, happy birthday card, I cased from Pinterest, and I'll be using this stamp here from this set. And I also used the papers from the Stitched Together collection. That was, I think this is going to expire, this catalog, this collection here. So I'll type up item numbers for you later as well so that you can see that. But I also wanted to show you these papers. I also grabbed all of these color ideas. Like I knew which stamp pads to use and which colors to color with because they're all listed here at the top of any of these zip strips here. And so I knew that Lagoon would be a good stamp pad color. I knew that charcoal would work out because they're all listed up here. And this is one of the reasons why I like to use these collections. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this first card. You'll receive in your kit all of the materials pre-cut, but I'm also going to share measurements with you in case you are just watching this and would like to make your own version. So you're going to use a basic A2 size card. This is your piece of cardstock that's 8.5 by 11 cut in half to make a 5.5 by 4.25 card. We're going to position it portrait style, and this Sapphire cardstock was cut at 4 by 4, and this striped cardstock is at 2.25 by 3.5. And again, I'll write these measurements for you either on my blog or in the description below. You'll also be receiving an extra sheet of cardstock so that you can do all of your stamping on it. This is the first stamp we're going to work with, so I'm going to go ahead and get it inked up for you in charcoal. So I find that with these larger stamps, I like to use this cushion that comes with each stamp set underneath the cardstock to make sure my image stamps the way it should. Now, if you were fortunate enough to grab the thin cuts, there is a thin cut set called Tags, Gift Tags, or Tags and More, or something like that. And it is also in this catalog. I did not grab that set. I did not have enough foresight to grab it, so I'll just be cutting mine by hand. I'll fussy cut this when I'm done. But if you were smart enough to grab that set, you can then run this through your cutter and cut it out that way. But I'll be cutting it out by hand. I apologize if you hear noises in the background. My daughter is home for summer school doing virtual learning. She's upstairs right above me. And I craft my little craft havens in the basement here, so you might hear her talking. So I apologize. I hope that's not too distracting. I'm hoping only I can hear it, but I don't know. This camera tends to pick up things I never think it would. So if you hear that, that's what that is. So, you know, that's not perfectly cut out. You can certainly get a perfect cut with those die cuts, but this is okay. And then save this. You'll need it to stamp your other images. All right, to color this, I used 3 tri-color blend markers, or tri-blend markers. I used light green blend, and citrus blend, and dark red blend. I'm going to start with my dark red blend with the darkest shade. I'm going to start by going over the little shade marks that are already present on the stamp. I just kind of feather out from the center out. I'll do that here as well. Then here I'll just do like maybe the underside here and a few petals here perhaps. Okay. Then I'm going to go to my lighter shade and go from the outside of the petal in. I'm not extremely careful with this coloring. If I get too precise, it takes some of the joy out of it. So as you can see, I'm just kind of scribbling this on. But you take your time and decide how long you'd like to spend on it. If I'm watching some of my HGTV shows or if I'm Netflix binging and I want to take my time with the coloring, I will. But sometimes, I don't know, if I'm listening to music, I get carried away with it and I just start coloring with a flourish, and before you know it, I'm not anywhere near in the lines, so it still works nice. My sister tends to say, I take as much or as little time as I wish with each project, and I think it's a good philosophy. So much of our lives are spent on the clock. Maybe it's nice to not force ourselves into a timeline in our leisure time, huh? Okay, now after I've done all of my light, I take the mid color. And then this is where I just kind of scribble the lines between the dark and the light to kind of help it blend out a little bit. And then I might go back later after it dries. I find with these alcohol markers, I like to see how it looks after it's dried. Sometimes it's different than when you first apply. So I'll do this and then move on to another color, but I might come back with more light if I feel like I need to. Next I take the green, and again I start with my dark color and I go over all of these veins of the leaves. I'm also going to go over the stems and then these little branchy looking things down here. And again, not extremely careful coloring, but if you like to enjoy that process. I'm enjoying scribbling today. Okay, and then I'm going to take my light color and work my way in again from the outside of the leaf in towards each of the veins of the leaf. I like these alcohol markers. It makes me feel like I'm almost using watercolor pencils. The way they blend and alright, and then again I take my medium and I tend to kind of just go over where those veins were. And again, I'll probably take another look after this dries to see if I really like it. And if not, I'll adjust as I wish. Okay then, oh, I missed a little stem here, didn't I? Let me go back with my dark. Is there anything else? I think I got it. Okay, now I'm going with the dark citrus blend. Just kind of scribbling that in. In the very center, I'm going to lighten it up. Again, we won't really see that right now, but later on when it dries. Alright, so for now I'm just going to go ahead and put that to the side and start layering my card. I'm going to grab a couple of them here because I'm pretty low on this guy here and I don't want to have to refill it right now. Yep, he's done, I think. Okay. Does anybody have a couple of these going at one time so that you don't have to refill in the middle of a project? I'll refill later. Alright, so the 4x4 Sapphire goes there. And the striped 3.5 by 2 1/4, position a little bit like here. And then this is a good place if you want to use some foam tape and pop it up, you could, but I know I'm going to be sending this in the mail, so I'm going to put this on with just your adhesive runner. Oh wait, before I do that, I'm looking at the model card here. Do you see how I inked the sides with Lagoon? I want to do that. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to just set that to the side. And I'm going to use Lagoon to ink up. I like doing that sometimes instead of another layer of paper because it still gives it dimension without adding any extra bulk. Alternatively, you certainly could put another layer here, but I decided no. As long as I've got my Lagoon ink out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. Now, you can use any sentiment you want, but I'm going to be using the birthday set. And this was the May stamp set, the stamp of the month called Time to Celebrate. So this one was, again, only $5 when you purchase 50, but if you don't have this, you can use any sentiment set you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and place the stamps where I know I like them. I'm going to have happy birthday for this one. And I want to do that so that I can see how they'll be placed. Make sure they're somewhat straight and they're going to fit. Ooh, he's sticking to me. Make sure they kind of fit on that card the way I want them to. And then if you have one of those Misties, you could use that. But I just take my block, and then that's how I know they're going to be on my block now, that it'll fit on my card. Alright, so I'm going to ink up Lagoon. I know this looks like it's Sapphire, but it is Lagoon. That'd be a nice look though too, wouldn't it? To do 2 different colors for one sentiment. Why not? Alright. Now that I've got that on there, I'll place this here. And then you can grab you'll get 2 lengths of ribbon to make a little bow. I've given you plenty because I know sometimes I'm not feeling particularly handy making bows, and I like to have a little bit more room to work with. This one went well today. And then you could use, I like to use this really sticky tape. Or, ooh, no, a glue dot. You can use either like that red tape, or I like these glue dots. These are nice and sticky because you don't want this falling off your card. Now again, this is going in the mail, but I think I'll be okay with this. I'll just put on there, please hand stamp or something. Now I also did a little bit of a finishing touch on the envelope, you'll see, and I just want to share this with you as a design idea. The envelope you get, if you wanted to make it to coordinate, you can use the stamp here and it coordinates with these flowers. Oh, I'm sorry, can you see that? Here. And then that coordinates with these. Stamp it, color it the same way you colored your tag, and that will match. And if you put it in the lower corner, you can still address this if you wanted to send it in the mail. All right, so that's our first card.